Hey quilters, it's Anjali over at Doodle Quilting Studio, and I'm in the studio this morning. It's gray and kind of rainy outside, but I wanted to take a few minutes to talk through the classes we're gonna have for this session. So yay, we are back to doing classes, back to doing in-person classes, doing group classes, and I'm super excited to have a session that kind of feels more normal. So that's my goal. So I have all the samples here for classes. Most of them I'm teaching. I do have one of my gals, Hannah, who's gonna teach a class this session, so that's gonna be awesome. And then I also have, we have rental starting next month, September. So I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. Ashley is gonna be in charge of that, so that'll be exciting. So let me just dive right in. So I have a whole run of classes. I have some new ones that I'm really excited about. And I have some of the regular ones. So the first one, and these are not in like date order or anything. I'll put up the link for you to access them on the website. You can sign up online. I will say real quick before I dive in, I will be, so Seems Like Home Next Door has their class preview night tomorrow, which is Saturday. What is that? That's Saturday, August 27th from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I will be over there as well with my samples. If you want to come by and ask questions about classes or sign up in person, whatever you want to do is fine. So let's jump in. Okay, so the first class I do this class every session, but it's a really great one if you are just learning how to free motion quilt, want to learn how to free motion quilt, don't know where to start, or you've been quilting and you want a refresher. This is a great class. So this one is called, it's just Intro to Free Motion Quilting, or Meander into Free Motion Quilting. I can't remember what it's called on the top of my head. But we are gonna work on, we tend to work on smaller pieces, but you can kind of see, these are some of the designs we work on in class. So we really, in this class, the first session is lecture. So you get to listen to me talk for 3 hours, but we go over all the basics: thread, needles, batting, tension, troubleshooting, kind of how to make and manipulate our quilt sandwich, all that stuff. We go over the first class. And then the next 2 classes we spend quilting. And this is the book we use, Free Motion Meandering by Angela Walters. And this book is included in your class fee. So if you don't have the book, it's okay, it comes in your class fee. If you have the book, well, then you can gift a copy to your friend or something like that. So this book comes included. So that's the first one, that's Intro to Free Motion Quilting. And that's just a good basis. If you're very new and you haven't done a lot of quilting, but you want to take some of the other classes, I would say this one is going to be a really good place to start because it's going to give you that foundation. There's so much that goes into free motion quilting with just our fabrics and batting and needles and thread that having a good kind of base of knowledge, understanding is really helpful when you do some of the more advanced classes. So after that one, I have Intro to Ruler Work. And so this is the panel we work on in Intro to Ruler Work. And you can kind of see some of it here. There is some free motion in this because I have to put a little free motion in. But the panel is probably going to change for this session just because I've used this panel for the last, I don't know, 3 years or something like that. And I'm ready for a different one. And I also want to go a little bit bigger with the panel. So there'll probably be, it'll be similar, but it'll probably be a little bit bigger. But Intro to Ruler Work, in that class we do, of course, ruler work. So it's free motion quilting with the addition of rulers. You do need a ruler work foot for your machine. If you have questions about whether your machine can do ruler work or what foot you need, I can definitely help you with that. If you have a Bernina, you can get the Bernina ruler work foot next door at Seems Like Home. If you have a machine other than a Bernina, usually I say go talk to your machine dealer. Some of that stuff you can find online. Some machines can use like a generic ruler foot that's made by Westerly. And I do have a cheat sheet chart that tells us which foot your machine would need. And I do have a few of those in stock here at the studio. So just come and see me if you have questions about which foot you need, or what machine you have and what will work on it. Okay, so another class I'm doing this session is called Applying Designs, which is just a lecture class. But it's kind of lecture and show and tell. So what we do is we'll take You know, we'll take our quilts and we'll look at them and we'll kind of decide, it answers all those questions like, okay, I have this quilt I just finished, it's gorgeous, but how do I quilt it? Like, where do I even start? You know, when we're looking at a quilt. So for example, this is actually a quilt that's going on the automation, but if this was your quilt, we would take a look at it and figure out, you know, what elements in this quilt do you want to highlight, or are there elements in this quilt that you want to hide? Maybe, you know, like sometimes my points aren't always perfect, so sometimes I want to like hide those with my quilting. So that's what Applying Designs does. We talk through how to kind of choose quilting and how to execute it. We'll talk about how to draw with your quilting, so either paper and pencil, or I like to use, I have an iPad Pro with an Apple Pencil, and so I can just take a picture of my quilt and I can draw right on the picture, and so I can get an actual idea of how my quilting is going to actually look on my quilt. And I have a quilt in the studio that I did where the drawing part was crucial because I created a secondary design. And when you're quilting, if you're quilting on a long arm, right, you only have, you know, between 18 and 20 inches of your quilt at a time. So, so that class is really fun. It's fun because it's show and tell too. So we get to see lots of pretty quilts, which I always love. I think I have 2 sessions of that class offered, so depending on what time works for you. Okay, so the next class is actually a class taught by Hannah. Hannah is our newest gal here at the studio. She is on like a short, it feels long, but it's actually pretty short, long-term sub job over at the German Immersion School, which is how I met her. She taught all 3 of my daughters kindergarten. And so, but she's also a quilter, she's also a mom, but she started here over the summer and she'll be back next month. So she's teaching a class that's called Intro to Long Arm. And so part of the purpose of this class is so that if you would like to use our rental program later, but you're newer to long arming, this class will get you kind of familiar, comfortable with loading the long arm, threading long arm, how everything kind of works. We do some of that in our, you know, when you come in to rent, and I'll talk about that here in a minute, but this class is really to give you some hands-on time with some guidance. We do have 4 long arms in the studio now. You can see this one in the back corner here, that's Betty. Hiding right here is Veruca. Out of the frame right here is Gertrude. She's my original machine. And our newest machine for rental is right here under the window, and that is baby brother. His name is Jack. So so we'll have 4 spots in this class, and it is offered twice. But the cool thing is Hannah designed this panel, this custom panel. So you're going to be working on this panel for that Intro to Long Arm class. It's included in the class fee. So that'll be a fun one, just kind of getting the feel for how the long arm works, you know, how to load it, kind of going through the process of quilting and advancing your quilt through the long arm. So Intro to Long Arm is that one. So by lots and lots of requests, I am doing a couple just quilting workshops. So that's kind of like just an open time for quilting. So I'm not going to be doing any like real formal direct instruction on any specific techniques. It'll be a time for you to come. I have 2. I have a long arm one, and I also have a domestic machine quilting one. So of course the long arm one is limited to 4 people per session because we only have 4 long arms. The domestic machine quilting class is open to more. I think I have it at 6 so that each person has their own table space. The domestic machine quilting class will be actually next door in the Seems Like Home classroom. But those are just for you to come, you know, bring a quilt that you have that's made, a quilt top, bring it, let's quilt it, let's look at it, let's get started, let's finish some of these projects that we all have. And I will tell you my secret, I have a rack over here in the corner. Oh my gosh, I'm a little afraid to count the hangers. There are at least 12 or 15 quilts on this rack that belong to me. A couple belong to my sister, but most of them are mine, right? That need to be quilted. So these workshops are designed for you to get in, get some quilting done, dedicated time. If you have questions during class, or you're like, hey, I haven't tried this technique, I haven't tried this design, could you show me real quick how to do it? That's what this class is for you to come and do some work and have a little bit of guidance there too. Okay, so the last set of classes, I'm not sure, classes is kind of a loose term, other classes. Okay, but I'm really excited about these. So I know we've all probably heard of the paint night classes that you can do. There's places in town. I went to one in Wasilla with my daughter and some friends. It was super fun. So I thought, okay, if people can do paint nights, we can do quilt nights, right? So I have designed 3 quilt night classes. These classes are on the long arm, so they're capped at 4 people. For this session, I only have one session of each class. So there are 3, and I will show you what those are. Depending on how excited other people are about this, it might just be me that's excited about it, I don't know. I'll design and do some more next session, but for right now, I have these 3. So the first one is in September. I don't remember the exact dates. I have them all on the website. So like I said, these are long arm specific. So we're doing these on the long arm. So this is the first one. So this is a pillow. It's an 18-inch pillow. So for these quilt night classes, so these classes, they're $195 per person. I believe we have 4 or 5 hours. I think it's 5. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this pillow, all the supplies you need are included in the class fee. So just like you would, if you went to a paint night, you pay your fee, you show up, all your supplies are there, everything is ready, and then when you leave, you take what you made with you. So we're going to piece and quilt this pillow all on the long arm, okay? And then we're also going to attach our envelope closure on the long arm. So when we pull this thing off, we will have our pillow case made. The only thing we'll have to do, I snipped my corners just to make sure they're pointy. Snip our corners, put our pillow in. It will be finished. So cute little fall pillow. This is, if you own a Cricut, you know what I'm talking about. A Cricut is like a cutting machine. So I own a Cricut. So I just made this SVG, I took this SVG and cut it out. It's fused on. So all of this will be ready in here when you come for this class. This is the fall pillow, but all of this is made on the long arm. It's super fun. It actually went pretty fast, but I wanted to give you guys some time for quilting too. And you can see I did some few little quilting details in the pillow. So that's the first one. The second one, let me go in order here, are Halloween placemats. Also, like, the technique is called quilt as you go, but we're doing it on the long arm. So we're using a panel, and then we're piecing in some coordinating fabric strips here. And so what's fun about this one, so let's see, let me get closer. So you can see I did simple, just grid quilting on these strips, but remember we're piecing it and quilting it. So we're gonna put our panel on and piece our strips. And then you can see here. So on each of these placemats, I don't know if you guys have ever used glow-in-the-dark thread, but glow-in-the-dark thread is super awesome. So each of these placemats, I did most of my quilting, and then I took my glow-in-the-dark thread and I quilted a few little elements so that on Halloween, when we turn the lights off and these are on the table, a few little elements will glow on these placemats, which is kind of fun. So in this class, you will actually make 4 placemats that coordinate. And you can see I changed a couple of mine up, so like 2 have the strips on one side and 2 have the strips on the other. But all of them have, this is the back, super fun. All of them have glow-in-the-dark quilted elements. So you will have access to the glow-in-the-dark thread as well during this class. So you could choose to put glow-in-the-dark elements in yours as well. The other thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna talk through, we'll see. If I have some brave souls that wanna do it, then I'll let you guys do it. But I'll show some binding techniques. So you can attach binding on the long arm. With smaller things like this, it's a little more tricky for doing the last step where you close the ends, but you could use it to attach most of the binding. And then between glue and fusible thread, I have found some really fun techniques for doing machine binding, which is really fun. So you can kind of see here. So the binding is still attached to the front. You turn it to the back, and then you actually stitch in the ditch from the front to close the binding. So we'll do that in class, in this class as well. So for Halloween placemats, this one's really fun. I really had fun quilting on the panel pieces because there's lots of little things you can trace around and play with. Okay, and the last one for this session is a Quilt As You Go like holiday table runner. So this is the table runner. And I don't know if you've been over to the shop, over to Seems Like Home, but they got this adorable Christmas panel, and this is just one piece from the panel. Oh, and you know what? I'll grab the rest. I gotta show you. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so this is one piece from the panel, the polar bear. The panel comes with a Santa, a snowman, and I think a deer. And then these are the coordinating fabrics. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our panel, we're gonna piece on our strips, here, quilt it, and let's see, you can see. So I did just some strips, I did a little feather, and then I quilted this little like berry element because I was looking at the fabric, trying to figure out what to quilt, and I thought it was cute. So, Quilt As You Go table runner. With this class, again, all the supplies are included. Again, we'll go over binding techniques in this class, but you will get the rest of the panel that goes with this piece. So there's 3 more panels this size. So if you wanted to make more of these, you could either come and rent, or you could do them on your domestic machine too. But the other fun thing, so you have these panels, these are about like 8 by 10 or 8 by 11, something like that. But then the panel also comes with these adorable little baby versions. So this is the snowman, and of course the polar bear. Here's the Santa, and then the little deer. So you get these little ones in with this bigger panel. So I just took my scraps and I made these little, these are not bound yet. Actually, I'll tell you my secret. What I was gonna do was stitch more of a seam allowance and then use my pinky and rotary cutter just to pink the edges, because let's be honest, who really wants to bind something this small? I don't. So, but you get these smaller panels with the one that comes with the table runner class. So you could make, and I think there's probably 3 or 4 sets of these little guys. So like this is just one, these little guys are taken from one piece that's close to the same size as the polar bear. So a little bonus project. I actually did these, you could do them on the long arm, but I actually did these at home on my sewing machine. And I think I made all 4 of them in like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something like that, 15 minutes. I didn't add extra quilting here or in the smaller panel, but you definitely could. So anyway, so that's just a fun little bonus project. So those 3 are the quilt nights I have for this session. I'm really excited about it, and so I hope other people are too. Otherwise, I'll just be here. Well, my sister said she wanted to make the pillow because she's a fall nut. So maybe my sister might be the only one here with me, but hopefully you guys think these are fun and will come and have some fun with me on these quilt nights. They're technically like afternoon into night, but that's okay. So those are the classes we have for this session. We do, like I said, we are also launching rental. So if you have questions about rental, we will probably do, I don't have it on the calendar yet, but that is on my list to add. We will probably do a little open house type thing where we have like a short lecture on how the rental program works, how you can sign up for it, all of that. But we do have our rental page live on our website now. So if you're curious, there's a form you can submit requesting a rental time. Like I said, we're not officially launching that till September, but that all the information is up on the website now. So, whew, that is all of it. If you want to come by and see the samples in person, ask questions, come see me tomorrow, Saturday, August 27th, from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the Seems Like Home classroom, where they're doing their class preview. You can sign up in person with me tomorrow. You can sign up online through the website. However you want to sign up is fine. And I'm excited to see you guys in class this session. So I think that's it. Let me know if you have questions. Check out the class page on the website, and I better get back to quilting. So.